So welcome everyone to this week's webinar Wednesday on Wednesday the 2nd of June. And as it's June, we've got June.
Hi, man.
Hi, June. How are you
Good
doing?
morning.
How are you doing this week?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. I'm loving this nice, lovely weather that we're getting for the moment. It makes a wee change to what we were getting.
Oh, yeah, it certainly does. So, yeah, no, it's really nice, isn't it? But like, I think most people are saying it would be quite nice to go to have a bit of a buffer, not just to go from freezing cold to boiling hot, but to have a bit where it warms up a little bit in between. But there we are.
Nice. It's just gave it a nice time as well with the kind of levels changing around COVID, so
yeah,
people get to enjoy it a wee bit more.
Yeah. And for the first time in, I think it said something like 250 days or something, or 260 days, things are going back down in Glasgow from Friday to.
Yeah, you'll be happy about that, Keith.
Yeah, you'll be able to go inside, which is amazing, isn't it? So, well, anyway.
Yeah, I know, but it takes wee steps to make all the difference for people, don't they?
Certainly do.
Especially how hard the last year's been. So.
Yep. Okay. And today's guests, June. Today we have Norma from Values Interaction Scotland and Liz and David, who are going to join us in a few minutes' time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to speak about the employment stuff that they've been doing with SCLD.
Yeah. So that should be interesting. That's good. And what you been doing this week? What's your week been like so far?
Not too bad. I've been clearing up a lot of stuff, catching up on some work and just clearing up some stuff I had. You know, you've always got the wee bits at the end that you're trying to kind of tidy up. So it's been quite good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Not managed to get out in the sunshine much though. This week anyway, but I was out at the weekend, so it was nice.
I don't know how long the sun's going to last, It's not going to last.
No, I think it says it's to be nice today and then it's to change, but I don't know if it's to change drastically or.
Okay, well, I can tell it's warm because I'm up in the attic and it feels warm up in the attic. So not that I'm outside. I might go outside for 5 minutes afterwards, and then I've got a packed program today because we've got going to the collective, the SDS collective, and then on to Social Work Scotland advisory group or steering group later on in the afternoon, which is looking at the social work, the standards that they've been working on, the self-directed support standards, and what they can mean in different areas and how they can be implemented and evaluated and looked at and hopefully making a positive difference. So that's this afternoon. That's this afternoon, yeah. And then tomorrow we've got SCLD Scotland National Committee tomorrow.
Yeah, looking forward to that.
Yeah,
always nice to catch up with everybody and see what's happening.
Yeah,
the next music session coming up as well.
Yeah, we have on Friday. Yeah, so Friday at 9 p.m. we have our next SCLD Scotland music session, which is 9 p.m. for about an hour, and it's the last one we're going to do before we have a bit of a summer break. So we won't be back with one till August. So we're gonna use some of the tracks that we got set in for Learning Disability Week, and also we've chosen a few of our favourites from the shows that we did over the last few months.
So the different sessions. That'll be good. That'll be really interesting.
So that's what we're doing on Friday night. And then next week we're just slightly out of our normal pattern. But next week we're back with the first of our Tuesday talks for June.
Danielle.
Yeah, with Danielle Farrell being Danielle. Yeah, and I think Danielle's going to talk about just a bit about lockdown, a bit about what she's looking forward to, a bit about how she's feeling about moving out of lockdown. Yeah,
just some of her own experiences and just how people are feeling a wee bit anxious, I think, with the changes as well, because people have been in lockdown for so long. Now that restrictions are getting lifted, it's just kind of working your way back into that, isn't it? I feel a wee bit anxious sometimes myself, still going out, but it's a wee bit more crowded now. Yeah,
it does, doesn't it? But I think, well, for me, I'm just amazed how quickly once you get a place that's quite crowded, for me, you just very quickly forget that there's ever been. That's just how I am, like, because I can't remember where I was the other day, but I was somewhere and it wasn't busy, and then it became busy. You know, more people came, and you thought, whoa! But then you get used to it quite quickly as well. Yeah, but everybody
still feel a wee bit anxious at times. I still feel myself kind of pulling back.
Yeah, and everybody will be different in feeling confident or less confident or not confident at all about going out, won't they? So yeah, so it'll be a strange time over the next wee while, but hopefully.
It will be, and I think it's just that kind of small steps, isn't it? Just getting back into how we were before, but it'll take time. But a nice positive feeling.
Yeah.
Danielle's going to be talking about a lot of that stuff next week.
Yeah. Okay, good. And then we've been talking about, as I mentioned about the music session, we've been talking about having a bit of a break June, July with our online activities, with our webinar Wednesdays, with the music session, with Tuesday talks, and just changing them a little bit and thinking about what we might come back with after maybe a summer break over July. So thinking about how
it's interesting to hear viewers' ideas as well. No, people
very much so.
Yeah,
very much.
If you've got any kind of ideas of what you'd like to see us doing, it'd be great to hear from you.
Yeah. There's Tom saying it's a lovely day down in
Good morning, Tom.
Yeah, it is. I think it's a lovely day everywhere in Scotland, isn't it, at the moment? Yeah, so we would be very keen to hear anybody's ideas about how we might want to do these in the future, because I think we just want to make sure that, as we've said before, we've done this webinar Wednesday every Wednesday apart from one week around about Christmas since April last year. So we just want to.
That long, does it?
It's more than a year then, isn't it?
Yeah, it's over a year now.
It's incredible. Yeah, more than a year. So we just want to keep it fresh and make sure that we, obviously, as everybody's lives begin to get a bit different again, a bit more normal, hopefully, that we're still useful and interested in what we do. So we're going to take at least the month of July out from webinar Wednesdays. But we would be very keen to hear what people think about what we might do in the future and what we might look like. Yeah. I mean, I've got a few ideas to make things up a bit. Yeah, and so that's what we're going to think about over the next wee while and over the summertime. And I can't understand that. I don't understand how it's got to be June already. I know
it just flies in.
It certainly
does.
I
think we'll find more and more people as they're getting out and about, and if the weather is nice, more people want to be outside anyway. You know, I think a lot of
definitely.
A lot of wee breaks happening. I think the online activities for a short while.
Yeah.
They're getting out and about. But like you say, it's nice to bring that back and kind of discuss topics and kind of interesting things that people.
Yeah. Okay. And if anybody does want to comment, they can either comment in the comment section here today. They can send an email. Drop us an email. Yeah. Send it to info@. That's probably the easiest way to do it, then, isn't it, Jim? Yeah. Definitely the easiest way is email at the moment, isn't it? As it continues to be. Yeah. Okay. Any other things you want to share today before we bring our guests in? Got anything else that we think we should share?
Not that I can think of at the moment.
Okay. No, I'm just thinking through my week, and I think that sounds fine. So what we'll do is we'll bring in our guests. We've got 3 guests joining us now, Norma, David, and Liz. So we'll bring them in and get them each to just introduce themselves. Hello.
Hi.
Good morning.
Everybody here okay?
Yep.
So
excellent. Good. So we're just going to ask you. We'll just go around everybody in turn, and we'll ask you to introduce yourselves for anybody who hasn't seen you before. This is you haven't been on before, have you, David?
No.
Norma, you've been on before, haven't you?
Yeah.
Liz, have you been on before as well?
I've been in the audience listening and watching and commenting.
Okay, no, that's it. Okay. So Norma, do you want to start?
Hi, I'm Norma Curran, and I run Values into Action Scotland, which is a small charity for people with learning disabilities and autism.
Okay, thank you. David, do you want to introduce yourself?
I'm David Ross. I'm one of the consultants for Values Interaction and have been fired for almost 7.5 years now.
I was thinking it's been quite a long time. So 7.5 years is a long time, isn't it?
It's thrown in.
Well, that's good. That's good news then.
It's been a great experience.
Yeah, good. Okay, thanks, David. Now, how long have you been with Bias, Norma?
Since 2009.
All right. Okay. Yeah. So that's roughly the same time as me with In Control Scotland then. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Liz, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, well, I'm Liz. I'm Liz Callahan, and I work for Values Interaction as well. I'm a lead consultant, and I work alongside David with our quality and evaluation team.
Okay, and I think since we were all saying how long we've been in different places.
Oh, I've been there for nearly 8 years as well. So yes, yeah. My hair was black like David's when I started.
Okay. What about you, June? How long's your history with In Control Scotland?
It's coming up for 10 years.
Okay.
Wow.
So we're a very stable bunch on here, aren't we? So that's good. That's good. Okay. So who wants to tell us? So we invited you on this week just because of some thinking and some work you've been doing around employment, and I know you do that as part of the core work, really, of Values Interaction Scotland. But just tell us about what you've just been doing recently. Is that who wants to do that? Is that you, Norma, or is it David, or is it
I suppose the most recent thing, I think David wants to maybe share his journey to tell people, how he got to where he is, but also what it's brought to his life as well. But if I just start with the most recent things, so in the last couple of years, the Life I Want, I've been doing some really interesting stuff on employment. So the Life I Want is a follow-on from a public social partnership where people with lived experience chose what was important to them, and employment come up as one of the key things. So they did some fantastic stuff before lockdown around, they planned an event, they did all the invites, they did the catering for it, they did absolutely everything involved in organising an employer event. There was a couple of them, but the first one was at Hag's Castle. So the employers came along to the event and sort of were served and enjoyed the day and stuff. And then when it came to the presentations, they realised that the people that had been serving them, inviting them, doing all these things were actually people who were looking for jobs, who had learning disabilities or autism. Were really blown away by their professionalism and so on. And I think about 3 people walked away from that event with jobs as a result of what they've done. So that was a lot of fun. Haven't been able to do as much of that over the last 14 months, but hopefully we'll get back into some of that stuff. Boss is a project, again, we delivered through lockdown, which was working with ScotRail as a business and as a service provider to give them the skills that they need to be inclusive as a provider and as an employer. So it was kind of a whole series of 360-degree training, capacity building and evaluation to really look at, how, awareness sessions for people that are working alongside people, sessions for HR people about how to make their processes better for people. And it was a top to bottom programme of capacity building. As I say, it was intended to be face-to-face, but we quickly had to change that model when lockdown happened. We also had a construction industry employer lined up to do that project, but that obviously didn't happen because they literally furloughed everybody. But that's been a really interesting project, and a byproduct of that is now we've linked them in with a couple of project search sites, and they are now starting to work to offer people rotations and so on. So that's been really successful. We also, just at the beginning of lockdown, launched our job coaching service, which is called EEE. So I suppose it was to work with supported employment agencies to widen the number of people they could support because obviously you're limited if you offer job support as to how many people you can help in a year. So EEE job coaching is to work with those providers in order that we do the job coaching, and it frees them up to do the other parts of the supported employment process. So David, our job coach, has been out supporting people who are sort of frontline workers throughout the pandemic as well. So that's been really good. In July last year, we took over the licence for Project Search, University of Aberdeen, and managed to get full funding for that now. We got the licence and there was no funding, but we've managed to sort that. So we have 2 staff that are now working with 12 interns per year to help them do 3 different rotations within the host business site and get jobs as a result of that. So I've been connected to Project Search for quite a lot of years. So I'm delighted that we're actually sort of front and centre stage now with that and developing that in Aberdeen. And the most recent thing we've been involved in is the Scottish Union of Supported Employment Public Social Partnership, which is again a project for employers and is trying to build their capacity to address bridging the disability employment gap agenda that the Scottish Government's got. So we support people with lived experience to take part in all of the 5 work streams that are involved in the public sector partnership. I chair the underrepresented group, and that's really about people with significant hearing loss, sight loss, autism and learning disability, who are, even within the disability world, more disadvantaged in terms of the opportunities they get for jobs. So we've formed a consortium with Sight Scotland, RNID, SCLD, CH Consultancy and ourselves to deliver a whole package of 360-degree training. I suppose following on from the BOSS model, but that was very much about people with learning disabilities and autism, whereas now we're looking at other groups. So we've brought in partners that are experts in that. And during the month of March, beginning of April, we delivered 47 different courses to employers in the private, public and voluntary sector, but also providers, because we know if you raise an employer's expectations and you can't give the support that's needed, nothing's going to happen. So we have to build capacity of both at the same time. So we've now got 10 employers, some of whom have already created jobs for people, following on from that training. But this year, it's really about, now we've done the upfront training, we need to get in and find out what their real specific needs are so that we can start to do that consultancy work that actually will help them move it from, I had a really great time at that training course, to this is how we change what we do strategically to make sure we're inclusive as an employer. So I think that's the main things. We also delivered a Young Scotland's Got Talent that we do with SCLD during the month of July, which first time we'd moved from a face-to-face model to an online. So that was interesting, and it actually led on to us having to anchor in the whole We Are One thing because we had half an idea about IT at that point. But that was a really good learning curve for us and a good experience as well. So it's all been good, but all very different this year, but still have managed to keep delivering and keep promoting employment.
Yeah, so loads and loads of really interesting things there, Norma. Probably each of which you could spend a lot more time talking about each aspect of those things. But just if anybody who's watching this now or watching this later wants to get in touch about those things, what's the best way for them to get in touch?
Probably info@viescotland.org.uk. I'd maybe put that up on the screen because I'm not quite sure how I do it from here.
Yeah, you put that. Yeah. When one of your colleagues is talking, just put that up for us. Yeah, that would be great. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, okay.
Can I just say, Norma, you mentioned Project Search quite a wee bit there through. I mean, I know what that is, but some of our viewers might not know. Can you just give us a wee?
So it was a model that was developed by a business person in America, a woman who ran a busy children's hospital in Cincinnati in Raleigh, who kind of looked at all the people that were patients within the hospital, and all the children with disabilities, and then looked around the staff team and thought, hold on, there's nobody with a disability represented within our staff team. There's something really wrong here. So she got in touch with educators and developed a model where there's a three-way partnership between an employer, an educator, be it a school or college, and a supported employment service. And they follow the college year, and they offer the young people, there's usually 12 per year, and they offer them 3 rotations around that host business. And all the education happens first thing in the morning and last thing at night, and teaches people about things that are relevant to the work that they're doing within the hospital. And then they graduate in the June of the following year, and they're supported for a period of 9 months beyond that. Some get jobs before the end of the programme, but they're supported to get jobs. And it's one of the most successful international programmes for people. You know, I think we've got something like a 75% success rate, and that actually outperforms mainstream employability programmes. So it's a hugely successful programme. But what I like about them is they don't look at that 75%, they look at the 25% and go, what could we do better? So we're really chuffed to be part of it. And it's about getting people experience in their internships in really meaty things, and not just some of the more traditional things that we've thought people could and should do. Anything and everything, it's whatever we can do. But that's why it has to be quite a big employer, so they can offer a wider range of opportunities as possible.
That's great. Thanks, Norma.
Thanks, Norma. And you said that you've taken over the responsibility for the Project Search site in Aberdeen.
For the licence, so we're the licence holders, but we work in partnership with North East College and the University of Aberdeen.
Okay, excellent, good. And you've successfully got funding to get that to keep that going. So
we name checked to John Brown. That was all his hard work. So.
Okay, excellent, very good. Okay, David. David, are you there? Yeah. We were talking about you sharing your employment journey, and we've got your slides here. Do you want me to share them for you, or do you want to share them?
Yeah, if you want to, I don't mind either way. I'd probably be better you doing it, because I don't know how. I'm not sure how to do it on this.
Okay, no, that's fine. So if I share them, all you need to do is just tell me when to move on to the next one as we go through them.
That's fine.
Okay, right. I'll just do that just now then. Yeah.
Yep.
Excellent. So, and they'll come up on the main part of this. They should come up on the main part of the screen when I do this. Does that come up for you now?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to make them big as well. There you are. There you are.
Well, before we continue, thank you again for the invitation to give you a quick insight of my journey of how I got to where I am today. If you want to go to the next one, Keith.
Yeah. Okay. And Liz, are you gonna be part of this presentation, or is David doing this?
Just very briefly, yes. Yeah, just very briefly.
Okay. Yeah.
So a little bit about my history of employment. I started working at the age of 16 in Celtic Park, and then Ibrox, working in the kiosks. For those that don't know about football, that's just selling the food and the drink before and at half time at the football games. And then I was doing that for about 2 to 3 years. And then I started working. I got support into doing working in a hotel. That lasted about a year. Well, but they lost a contract and lost the opportunity of me getting employment there. Went with that contract, but a few months later, I ended up getting support into employment into Wetherspoons. and I was in Wetherspoons approximately about 7, maybe 8 years. But I got support naturally from my kitchen manager, but then she left about 5 years later, and I left a couple of years later. So, if you want to go on to the next slide, then Keith.
Yeah. And what were you doing in Wetherspoons, David? Were you doing a range of jobs, or did you have a particular set of tasks that you had?
I was in the kitchen,
Uh-huh.
and I started off doing the dishes, and then it progressed up to doing a lot of the cooking.
Uh-huh.
So now to get to where when I reached the age of 24, I got really good support from Glasgow City Council Supported Employment Service, and they gave me support and helped me into finding the job that I wanted, helping me write CVs, filling out application forms, prepared me for interviews, and I was also given a job coach who helped me learn all things, and that's who helped me into getting the job with Fires, and I ended up getting support from Fires, and most of that Fires is, in some ways, I can say, is my dream job due to the fact that I've got a disability and I want to, go down help others that are either looking to find employment or that are struggling, if they get told they can't do it, that there's proof that it can happen, and I wanted to have you being a living proof that it can happen, and I'll always feel that the road of employment will always be a journey on its own. So the next one, Keith. So if it wasn't for since working with Fires, I've gained a lot of experience and confidence to do things I never thought I would do and could do. And I've gained 3 other jobs out of being with Fires. Two of them had been a safety steward at football games and at rugby games and various music festivals. One being with Celtic Park and one with another company called Secura Group. And I also do a bit of support work as a personal assistant, and having a job, or in my case, jobs, given me more friendship and confidence and natural support I've never had if it wasn't for having Fires. And if you go on to the next slide, Keith.
Yeah, you're not working on the Euros, are you, David?
I am.
Oh yeah.
I've been given two this
Uh-huh.
Hampden.
Right.
So again, if it wasn't for my journey of employment, that's given me the confidence and the support to do things that I've never thought I could do, I would not have met the love of my life or get married. with Ashley Ann, who's my wife. We've been together 6 years, but been married 3, and we've recently moved into our own house, our own flat, about 2 months ago. Well, just over 2 months ago, and again, if it wasn't for my employment journey and the time I have spent with Fires, I would give me all the confidence to do all that.
Where did you two meet, David?
We met through a night out with friends.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's hard to believe it's 3 years, because I mean, I remember you telling me about when you were gonna get married, and that you said you're getting married next. I think the first time you told me about it, you said I'm getting married next year, and that doesn't seem very long ago, really, to me.
Yeah, I remember talking to a few folk, some other friends that I have, and they can even remember me saying that having a bit of a countdown.
Yeah.
Every time I spoke to them, and it's like a year from now,
Wow.
3 months from now, and then it's like 3 years later.
Yeah. Yeah.
How that kind of time flies.
It does. Yeah, yeah. The lovely pictures. Anyway, you both look very happy there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I grew up brilliantly when I try. And again, gives me a lot more confidence to do things that I've never done before, or I would not have thought about. So the next slide then, Keith.
Okay, so this bit's over to me. So yeah, sort of take back to David's first, I suppose, when he came to Vias, and his interview, which he certainly blew us all away with his charisma and charm. I remember the day very well. And as David's obviously mentioned in his early in his presentation there, that he came with a job coach. And I think, I suppose this ties in with, the presentation the information that Norma was sharing earlier on as well, that, that support from those organisations is really, really important. And to say that the role that the job coach took on was very much at the very beginning, she had to sort of learn and find out exactly what David's role was, so she understood it fully, so she could actually, support him to the fullest to enable him to do his job well and do his job properly. I think she left, about maybe 6 months later down the line, and David was doing really, really well in his role as quality checker at that point in time. But very soon, I think we have to say that, the job was getting busier and busier. And his job role developed as well. And we very, very quickly realised that there were things that we weren't able to support him doing his job probably to the fullest that he probably could. And we really wrecked our brain quite a bit to sort of try to work out what we needed to actually help support David and his colleague who we worked with to do his job well, because part of David's job was to interview people, take notes, and then come back and enter data into surveys and actually write notes to pass on to myself. And there's a lot of information there that he had to gather, and it's like, that was part of the area that we kind of struggled with. So what we did was, David, we contacted Access to Work, and David had to speak to them about, he needed some help and support to help him to do his job the best he could. So what they did was they actually sent out an assessor, and they spoke to myself and to David and his colleague he was working with to find out exactly what his job entailed, exactly what he needed to do and how he went about doing it. And then they worked out mechanisms and things that they could actually put in place to actually help him do his job. And what that came about was to sort of give him some tools to equip him well in order to sort of do that, which I have to say for us was an absolute lifesaver. David's going to talk a little bit more now about what those devices actually were, but I have to say, if anyone's actually thinking of looking for any support for individuals to contact Access to Work, we any equipment and training and stuff what we needed to purchase, we actually bought but then claimed back through Access to Work, so it actually didn't cost the employer anything at all, but he now has equipment to support him. So David can tell you a bit more about that, so if you want to proceed to the next slide, that'd be great.
So as I received some equipment such as a life smart pen. Let's I call it a magic pen.
Yeah, it still is.
But as you can record a conversation on the pen as well as what you write. But only thing it needs to have, you need to use a specific notepad to have it to work properly. And I've also received a computer software such as MindView, which is also a mind map. It's kind of been able to put down, it's kind of very similar to doing like a presentation kind of idea, but you can expand a bit more on it easier without having to make it look bigger than. And I've also given a laptop browser to give them so I can have my laptop up a bit higher than what it would be. And having all that stuff, equipment, made my life easier, given my job, made my job easier, and then giving Liz and the rest of the team a bit more free time to do what they need to do, for knowing that they don't need to give me more support than what's needed. They know that they can go and get me out to do the job that I need to do, and know that I won't be needed. They won't necessarily need to be there all the time. And it kind of also means but either way, I'll always get support from the team regardless of, despite having all this equipment. And what makes me feel having all this and the team that I've got, knowing that I'll always be supported no matter what. And it means that it's also been a bit of a lifesaver as well, having it all. And next slide, Keith. And again, if it wasn't for having the confidence, I also meant I completed a level 2 SCQ and level in business and administration. If it wasn't for the confidence, it wouldn't have happened. And that's the next slide, Keith. That's me. If there's anybody's got any questions, they'll be able to be answered.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, David. Looked a bit like a James Bond pen, that one. That pen you've got looks a bit like James Bond pen or something like that. You can do all sorts with that, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to say it's a real dream for David because he's got a bit of a pen thing anyway. So to have a super duper pen is just like right up there, isn't it, David?
Yeah.
Can I just ask something, David? I know that you do consultancy work with bias and training as well. Was that something that you were always interested in doing, or was it something that you just kind of led into through the other work that you've been doing with bias?
The training and the consultancy stuff, it's actually been a bit extra. But when I first started out purely doing the quality checking and the evaluation, setting support, but as science progressed and my job progressed, it's given, I was getting given the opportunity to do it all.
Good employment opportunities then in bias.
Yeah. And I think if it wasn't for Norma and Liz giving me the opportunity to work for 5 years, I don't think my journey would have been so as successful as it has been.
New message from Tom there. Congratulations on your wedding, David.
Yeah, sorry, I put myself on mute there by mistake while I was typing. Yep, so that's Tom just saying that, and we've also got the contact for Values Interaction Scotland there as well. So wherever you're watching it, it comes up. Whichever platform you're watching this, it comes up on there. So okay, yeah. I was just going to ask you, David. When you started, did you start doing as a quality checker, but then your job's broadened out into much more than that now? Is that what's happened? Yeah.
Went from just doing the quality checking. I'm now part as well as the quality checking. I deliver some learning disability awareness training. We have delivered the quality checking training as well, and I also deliver some safeguard. Well, I've shared a story of and when I'm doing some safeguarding training, I also co-deliver bits of safeguarding. But then when we've been doing the cutting edge care training.
Okay, so quite a few different things there. Yeah. Okay. We're at 11:43, so what I'm gonna do is just gonna go around each of you and just ask you about things that you're looking forward to in the future in relation to. Well, you can say anything. You can say whatever you want. You can in relation to work, but in relation to your life as well. So we're just gonna go around and ask you. So I'll go to you, Norma, first. Then just say what are the things that you're looking forward to as we're coming out of most of the restrictions and looking forward into the future, and what you might be doing.
I've got to be honest and say I'm still a wee bit sceptical. I'm sort of watching things every day going, is this really going to happen, or are we going to go back the way? So I'm not quite at the making plans stage yet. But I suppose for me it's about having the best of both worlds moving forward and using everything that we've learned during lockdown to make sure that we can give people a variety of options that we might not have thought of before. And I think to the PSP training in March, and like with people from Shetland, the Borders, all taking part and all learning together. And I think we've connected people that in the past have felt really disconnected. So I suppose I'm just looking for a brave new world now where there's a bit of everything for everybody, and that we make the most of, and especially for a lot of people that we represent who were really socially isolated, who have managed to get themselves online now, and who are connecting and doing their own thing through things that I'm looking at, like get together at home, and and people are taking so much more responsibility and are connected. And I think a lot of them were people who were really isolated before. So it's just building on all this learning of what's happened over the last, 14, 15 months and seeing what that new world looks like with a bit of both.
Yeah. Yeah. So not going back to how we were, but going back to something that's better than how we were. Yeah. David?
The one thing I'm looking forward to is being able to meet up with everybody again that I've not been able to meet up with.
Yeah.
Especially if it's been in the work-wise, not being able to see everybody face to face, or being in the same room as them all.
Yeah. I think lots of people are saying that, and they're really looking forward to being able to meet up more with friends or to meet people in other places that they've not managed to get to. I mean, have you developed different skills during this as well, then, David? Like being online stuff. I certainly have. I'm sure there's things I do now that I would never have dreamed of doing.
If I'm going to be before COVID, if I've done training, for instance, I was always face to face.
Yeah.
But then, for most of the training we have delivered over the last year or so, most of it's been online and having to change my mindset and adapt to being online. It's been a very different experience, but been a great experience nonetheless.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Liz?
I think it's sort of similar to both Norma and David. Yes, I think working in this new world, throughout lockdown has, we've had to learn a lot of new things and doing things very, very differently. But equally, like what David said, it'd be really nice to get back, into the office and actually spend some time with people and that adapting certain things and certainly learning new skills and stuff. But it's nice to have that one-to-one support or a group support where you actually physically meet people. That really looking forward to having those opportunities again and actually meeting other people, in the whatever this new world's going to be looking like going forward in the future. So yeah, definitely.
Okay, thank you. June?
Yeah, just the same. I think everybody's thinking the same way. It's just that looking forward to getting to kind of do face-to-face things again, but also not forgetting the learning that we have made through this process of COVID and the opportunities that people have had to join in and things, whereas they might not have had before. So it's not losing that kind of digital sense of things. But what we've been speaking about before, Steve, a lot through Control Scotland is having that kind of blended stuff. So we're meeting people face to face, and we're also holding on to that digital activity stuff as well.
Yeah.
It's nice to see everybody again, though.
Yeah.
Real people.
Yeah. And we do have to just take things as it comes up with that. And like Norma says there, because I know you were due to go in the office this week and then obviously couldn't because the restrictions in Glasgow hadn't changed yet until this Friday. So yeah. So we had to change that again and adapt what we were going to do this week. Yeah. So I'm sure there'll be more of that to come. But hopefully we can look forward to having more of those opportunities to do more of those things and not lose the things that we've done that have worked really well, that we've managed to learn and do in different ways. So as we were saying, we've got our music session on Friday, Scotland music session on Friday. We've got our Tuesday talk next Tuesday online. Next Wednesday, we're going to be joined by the fantastic Fionathan, son and father team, who are launching something else with us next Wednesday morning on Webinar Wednesday. And thanks to our great guests today. Thanks to Norma. Thanks to David. Thanks to Liz for joining us. And
Thank you very much.
Yeah, if you want to get in touch with Values Interaction Scotland, we'll just put up your contact details again. If you want to get in touch with In Control Scotland, then just do the info at in-controlscotland.org.uk. And we look forward to seeing, speaking, being with people in whatever way that happens in the near future. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.